everybody, and welcome to Digital Discovery, our exploration of the collections of the museum for you, our early learners. My name is Liz, and I'm the Early Education Specialist here at Berkshire Museum, and I'm going to guide you on today's discovery. So let's just jump right on in. Woo! Hi everybody, and welcome to today's Digital Discovery. Now today our topic is storytelling. I don't know about you, but I love storytelling. All parts of it. So much so that that's what I went to school for. When I say storytelling, I'm talking about all the wonderful ways a story might be told. I have learned that these ways are almost limitless. Now, there are some really famous and popular ways of storytelling. We think about bedtime tales and circle times and even watching TV. There's got to be more ways to tell a story than just those. So why don't we discover what they can be? Now, to start off talking about storytelling in the museum, we're going to talk about Nathaniel Hawthorne's writing desk. It's a desk that Nathaniel Hawthorne, who was an author, wrote some of his most famous stories on. And that's what makes it so cool. It's a piece of history. Nathaniel Hawthorne, if you haven't heard of him before, is a famous author who was born in 1802 and lived right here in Massachusetts. And here is where we believe that he wrote some of his most famous stories. Some of his most famous books that he wrote were The Scarlet Letter or The House of the Seven Gables. Now, you might have not read them before, and that's okay. I didn't read them until I was in high school, but those are some of the works he's most known for. But that wasn't the only way Nathaniel Hawthorne told a story. No, he was a super creative person, and one of his favorite ways was actually just storytelling by word of mouth. It's a tradition that's been passed down for ages, just telling stories from our minds to the people around us. So Nathaniel Hawthorne, as a storyteller, already has two ways. He wrote books, and he told stories by word of mouth. Now that we've learned about a piece of our connection to storytelling history, for the rest of our discovery, I need some help. I called up some of my really good community friends and asked them if they wanted to be part of our discovery. And guess what? They said yeah. So let's see what one of my friends wants to tell us about storytelling today.
My name is Erica, and I'm a storyteller. Like most storytellers, my story begins with words on paper. But today I want to talk about stories with pictures, like this one. I like to look at the trees and the sky, I look at the buildings and the clouds, and I like to recreate that image in my notebooks. No matter what story I'm telling, I always like to use lots of color. Like when I'm looking at the sunset, and I see the purple and pink clouds rolling by. It's the perfect opportunity to blend markers on paper and recreate that colorful experience. Sometimes I like to collect flowers and I press them into my notebook with hot wax. But please kids, don't try this at home unless you're with a parent or guardian. Actually, I think it's much more fun to create stories and collage with my family and friends. When you're working together with someone, that's called collaboration. And this is a key part of my creative process. I like to ask my friends to share their thoughts and opinions on where to place the images or what colors to use. We like to make a mess. We gather all of our supplies. Maybe you'll want paint. Maybe you'll want some stickers. Maybe you can look around the house for found objects like trinkets and tiny pieces of paper. Once you've gathered all your materials, you want to lay it out. Maybe you can place photos alongside plane tickets. You can collage different pieces of paper. Maybe you'll want to start with a blank canvas and coat it with a base of paint. From there, you can add cut-up paper and magazine clippings. Whatever your little heart desires, you can glue it. When I'm feeling adventurous, I like to add glitter. I think it's really cool to add a sparkly layer. Sometimes I like to make my collages double-sided. And other times I like to make picture books that are interactive. Look, you can even open the cabinet. You may want to hide some secrets. No matter how big or small your creation, the goal is to use your imagination. Think outside the box. Or maybe you'll find ways to create your own box like this one. Here I have all my favorite tiny treasures inside. And it's a reminder that you can't pass or fail at being an artist. You just gotta do what comes naturally. Create your story, share it with your friends, your family, and the community. Thanks for listening.
Wow, Erica, that was really amazing. Thank you for sharing your art and way of storytelling with us today. How about for our digital discovery adventure? We go around our house and collect items to tell a story. Let's say 5 items. The story you tell can be why those items are important or some magical adventure. It's all up to you. Just remember to get creative and enjoy discovering. I'll see you later. Bye.